going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking a little bit about a GetResponse system here, which you can see on my screen. Now, GetResponse is a really cool marketing platform that enables users like yourself, whether you're in real estate, you're a lender, you own a small business, an e-commerce store, they have all sorts of neat tools for you. So basically, GetResponse is able to perform any of these actions or provide all of these tools, whether it's email marketing, autoresponders, website builders, landing pages, forms, pop-ups, forms, reports, e-commerce tools, automation, webinars, conversion funnels, and so much more. They can even run your paid ads for you if you so please. So GetResponse is a really cool tool, and what we're going to be looking at today, because after all the channel is named API Explorers, are some of these integrations and APIs. So what do they have that you can leverage for Open API? You can see here we could actually generate an API key that will then allow me to go ahead and gain access to their Open API documentation. So with this, we'll go ahead and copy it, or we have that copy button that we can click, and then we can also go ahead and read more about GetResponse API. So these are documentation. So REST API is a really cool and neat, effective way for you to be able to make integrations with applications. So you can do these on applications like Postman. You can do them on applications like Zapier. You could also do them on applications like API Nation, right? So integrations are becoming the new effective way of 2023, or as we go into 2023, to automate one's business. So what we're looking at here are all the REST API endpoints that are provided by GetResponse. So basically, for example, this API endpoint that is a GetResponse, this is their base URL. Now, it's important to understand how API actually functions and what it means. It's an application programming interface. That means that they're basically giving you access to things like contact creation, note creation, send email, send video, and so forth, right? So there are some basics. Of course, I always encourage you to read through the documentation and so forth. The second important thing to notate when working with API is understanding authentication. Authentication can come in a variety of forms. It can be in a header form, it could be in a bear token form, it could be in OAuth 1.0, OAuth 2.0. It could come in the form of not even being there, right? Some systems don't require authentication. In GetResponse's situation, they do require an authentication, and you can see that here they're using an authentication token or API key, right? As you saw in the beginning of the video, I actually created that API key. Now, they also have OAuth 2, so maybe you own a platform like API Nation or Zapier, or work for a partner portal of some sort that you want to go ahead and create an authentication access or OAuth access. You would be able to use the OAuth 2.0 option to actually achieve that. Now, they also have these callbacks, and basically callbacks are events, right? So you can see here they have subscribe, right? So what happens when a subscription occurs, what we call our query parameters will be sent to a URL endpoint. So for example, the action, right? And that's always going to be subscribed since this is under subscribe. But they're going to send us things like the account ID, the account login, the campaign ID, the campaign name, and all of these remaining parameters. Now, one thing to notate here is that just because subscribe has all of them doesn't necessarily mean open will have them, right? You can see how our parameters actually change from subscribe to open, right? So now we're getting message ID, message name, message subject. Now, I point this out because it's important to know that not all event callbacks are going to return the same payload, right? These parameters come in a payload structure. So if you've ever seen what a payload structure might look like, you might just head over, or haven't seen one, you might head over to like a JSON finder, and you'll see this array with some values within it, right? So instructions, it might also have something like this, right? Where it says instructions, and then it says first name, and it might be something like first name and then they might have like Eric in here, right? Now, one thing I didn't do here is go ahead and open up. There we go. So you could see how it would have something like first name, right? And then you would have the name associated with it, right? Now, I point this out because that's just how it might come over, right? So with understanding payloads, you should really understand the structure, right? And this is a really cool website if you don't understand JSON to go and find paths, right? Because some values, if you're trying to connect applications to each other, might require you to know the JSON path. So for example, I know that first name is my first or my third line here, and select an item is my fourth line here. But if I need to know the exact JSON path to that value, I need to understand my path, right? So we'll go ahead and click on it for example 1, and you can see how it says x.instructions value 1 will be my line 4. Now, I point that out as well because this is important when you're running monitors, or you're running and creating an application on a system like a Postman, where maybe you need to store those values, right? So, for example, they return, or when this is ran, my authentication is going to fail here, but when this is ran, they will basically return a string here, right? Or several strings with all those values. And what we need to do, if you're going to store those values on, let's say, an environment in Postman, is we need to understand how the JSON data is structured. So you need to be able to separate the response body and say first name equals JSON dot first name, right? And that's just basically pointing to the path of that. But that's also important to understand because maybe you're creating some sort of monitor for GetResponse that's going to run every day to get new responses, get open clicks, and so forth. What I want to do for today is just focus on webhooks. Webhooks is kind of my niche, right? I'm absolutely a webhook guru. I love webhooks. I love what they do. They make it super simple for you as a user to make a connection. So what we're going to do here is head into GetResponse, right? Maybe you've created a really cool landing page, something like this one that we've created, right? Maybe you created a landing page for a coming soon listing and you want to get the information details for people who subscribe, right? So let's head over into GetResponse and let's actually go to their webhooks option. Now, a lot of tools are starting to build this natively into their application, which is absolutely awesome because it mitigates you as a user from having to go and learn like how to run Postman. So everything I was just talking about a moment ago, throw that out the window. You don't have to be a tech guru or understand how to work with APIs. With webhooks, it's as simple as this. So we're going to go ahead and click on Create a Webhook. We're going to head into our API Nation dashboard. We're going to go ahead and select webhooks. And then for this example, I want my webhooks to go, let's just say into a Google Sheet, right? Let's say I want any new submission from here to go into like a backup Google Sheet, right? So we'll go ahead and click Activate here. And then what I need to do is, since GetResponse is going to send out the payload or send out the information, I need to select an inbound. So this is going to be GetResponse, and then we're going to go ahead and generate this webhook. So now that we have that URL endpoint, let's go ahead and copy that and head back into GetResponse. So we're going to label this YouTube because that's exactly where this video is going, and we're going to post that webhook URL endpoint. Now, this is absolutely perfect UI right here because I not only because I say that, but because it's simple. I just need to know what event I want to be sent to that URL endpoint. So for this example, right here, contact subscribes. That means anytime somebody submits their details and clicks Get Details, that's a new subscription. So they'll go ahead and send that contact data. Now all I got to do is literally click Create Webhook and make this active, right? So I'm going to go ahead and refresh here, which they should have already done, but they didn't. that is active. So let's see here. We haven't got any contacts just yet coming through. So let's just go ahead and submit one. So we'll say Donald Duck at leadzaps.com. Now .com. And this is really cool. Again, this is an example of those landing pages, right? You can see how it now shows me some details. Really cool and fun. And we'll do some more videos later on how to create these. Let's head into API Nation's dashboard and click on Test Webhook. And we can see that those details have now came in. You could get the campaign ID and so forth. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click on Finish. And what I'm going to do now is access. And this is going to be Get a Response. We'll go ahead and click Subscribe. And then they're going to ask for my payment information for this option, right? So maybe this isn't a perfect example. Let's head over and choose a CRM. Give me 2 seconds. All right, so we actually decided to go with webhooks to KV Core, and I want to have it create a contact. So let's go ahead and do this. And again, I don't need to go through this step because I've already done it. And we'll select our KV Core account, make our connection if you haven't done so already. KV Core person, perfect. Let's go ahead and click on subscribe. And now what I want to do is just go ahead and begin my mapping process, right? So if we're getting their full name, which we are, we'll go ahead and put that in the full name field here, Donald Duck, and we're also getting their email. Now, the cool thing about this is that with GetResponse, you could actually add more fields to these landing pages. So if you wanted like phone number, if you wanted more details, you could actually embed a bigger form that asks those questions. You could also ask qualifying questions as well. But these are the only particular notes or details I need. Let's go ahead and click on Activate Sync, and now we are done. So let's try this again. We'll say Donald Duck, Ducksworth at ddelete@gmail.com, and we'll go ahead and click on Get Details. Now that webhook should have fired. Let's head over into our KV Core account just to verify. And we also should see a processing here. We see the success. So Donald Ducksworth should now be in our CRM. And there he is. So this is a really cool way to go ahead and connect an application using a webhook of GetResponse to KV Core, any CRM of your choice. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Like always, hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you in another video. Have a great day.